Hey there, creative people! Get ready for an exciting art journey as we bring Mystique from X-Men to life with a twist. We got a 3D printed figure of the ultimate mutant shapeshifter, and we're not just painting, no. We're transforming her with a spectacular shape-shifting effect using fake snow. Prepare to be amazed as we blend art and a bit of movie magic to create something truly unique. Let's make this Mystique masterpiece come alive. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let the art transformation begin. I'm kicking off this paint job by giving each major section of the model a nice coat of blue paint. Before that, I made sure to prime it with white. Of course, you can also use a brush if you prefer, just make sure to cover everything evenly. Personally, I'm using a brush to reach all the nooks and crannies for the smaller parts of the model. It helps me avoid getting blue paints on the white parts. However, as you will see later in the video, it was a complete waste of time and I could have just sprayed the whole hand as well, because I dry brushed over the white parts too. Anyhow, I'm continuing with dry brushing. The technique I use is to dampen the brush very slightly to avoid a chalky texture. Always test beforehand on some texture palette, or your hand, or your houseplants, or the cat, before applying it to the model. After completing the dry brushing technique using the mid-tone and a light blue on all the parts, I'll move on to using a dark blue speed paint. I'll dilute it to create a glaze and then apply it to all the blue sections. This will help unify the colors and blend the edges smoothly. Now you might be thinking, hold on a second, did he mistakenly choose the wrong color for the hand? Absolutely not. This is where the exciting shape-shifting twist I mentioned earlier begins. But I need to show you the rest of the head first. I proceed to create the foundation for Mystique's eyes. If you're curious about my eye painting technique, I recommend checking out my other video where I paint eyes on Wonder Woman. Feel free to give it a watch after this. I'm going to give this model a special touch by mimic the eyes of Mystique from the movies instead of just plain yellow paint. Using a marker, I carefully draw the pupils to make sure they are aligned. I then grab a brush to start painting the remaining pupils and the peculiar iris. The iris is so small that it was quite challenging to tape, but I will show you the end results too, so you can fully see what I'm doing. Next, I proceed to cover up all the areas that I plan to spray white once again. It's important to mention that I also apply a layer of white paint on a section of the legs and torso to serve as a base for the soon-to-be natural skin tone. Let's get started on some shape-shifting fun. First up, adding snow paint. It's similar to texture paint, so I guess you can just use any texture paint on this step. This is just the first layer to make the next parts simpler. I grab a random stick lying around, I dip it into the snow paint and then apply it along the edge where the colors meet. The purpose of this is to create a raised surface for the other fake snow to adhere to and partially stand up. After that has dried, I start by painting the blue color on the raised area of the blue skin side, and then apply the basic skin tone on the other side with the white part until they blend together in the center. I moved on to applying the skin tone using oil paints. If you want to see how I accomplished this, make sure to watch the video on the channel dedicated to this topic. There's a lot of helpful tips in that video. So let's skip this step and keep going. After everything had dried completely, I applied some static grass glue. If you don't have any, you can use wood glue or a similar alternative. Just ensure it has a matte finish. Next, it's time for the fake snow. It's basically small plastic pieces. Usually I go for local plastic, but if you can't strain out the microplastic from your water or want to cut thousands of pieces by yourself, you can purchase them at hobby stores during the fall and winter. I begin by applying a generous layer of glue along the seam where the colors meet. Then I sprinkle on the artificial snow, making sure to create some areas where it stands upright to give it a nice texture. I repeat this process, adding more snow as needed, until I achieve a satisfactory coverage and everything remains securely in place. I'm doing this on both the leg and torso pieces. After completing that step, I will use a heavily diluted glue, metallic speed paint and a dark blue color to create a simmering paint mixture for painting over the plastic snow. The reason for diluting the paint to this extent is to ensure that it penetrates down to the bottom and blends the color there too. Adding glue to the paint helps to secure those tiny plastic parts that might not have been properly attached. It's all about making sure nothing comes loose. I decided to give the scales a little extra sparkle by applying metallic paint to the highest points. And that's all about there is to it. If you're looking for more definition, you can try using speed paint or another diluted paint in the recesses to create the illusion of deeper shadows. And if you want to make them shine even more, just paint a lighter color along the edges of the scales. Let's get started on the base. Alright, let's go with the first thing I'm going to tackle, the skulls. Like always, I've given them a nice white base coat and now I'm gonna quickly paint them with a brownish color speed paint. This will give them a solid foundation and add some cool shadows. Following that, I'll be adding a pop to the candles with some red speed paint. I won't delve into all the nitty-gritty details since it's just a simple task of slapping on some paint. Attention now, this step is really important. Intentionally mess up the sequence of colors on the candle while painting it, so you will have to redo it correctly later. Just like I'm demonstrating here. That's totally by design. How about we concentrate on the bigger picture of the base instead, okay? I'll use speed paint to cover the base in gray. Then I will dry brush to highlight the edges. Next, I'll add metallic paint for a shiny effect. And lastly, I'll paint all the ammo and add some OSL from the candles. And that brings us to the end of this journey. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share and subscribe for more. Don't forget to check out my other videos on the topics I discussed here. Links in the description. This is Ghost Hat Arts, signing off. Now let's see the final reveal.